YouTube, so I finally decided on doing this. For the 600 so subscribers that I might have, this is the first time I'm coming in front of the camera, so hello. And for the others, so I've done a few videos on jailbreaks usually, and that was several years ago. Over the past few years I've collected quite a few gadgets, so I thought it would be nice to review some of those, and everyone has opinions, so I'll just share mine with you. So it's 2016, Happy New Year. By the end of the year I thought I'll make at least 52 videos, one for each week. I'll try to make more, but the resolution is to make at least 52 videos. And to start off with, I thought I'd make a video on the iPhone 7 predictions, because I know it's about 9 months away. Mid-September is the timelines for iPhone 7. You can only see concept models of the iPhone that are very out of the earth or very futuristic, and it floats all around the internet with projection keyboard and things like that. But the reason other companies don't have this as much as Apple does is because Apple has this reputation of coming up with something outstanding, though it's not done that for quite some time now. So I thought I'll give you a roundup of what the iPhone 7 predictions are based on the popular internet sites. So the first thing is the 3.5mm jack. Everybody knows that the iPhone is extremely thin, and Apple is obsessed with making it as thin as possible. So I know they have a bulge in the camera end because they're not able to make it any slimmer in terms of the optics. I think they might have plans of making it wedge-shaped, like how the MacBook Air is. At least making it thinner at one point so that I can say it's 3mm thin at its thinnest point. The only thing that's stopping them at this point in time to make it any thinner is the 3.5mm jack. That's the biggest component that you see at the bottom. The lightning connector is pretty much extremely thin already. They did a good thing losing the 30-pin connector. Apple has this reputation of completely diverging from the market standards. They did this with the floppy drive. They lost the floppy drive. People might have had bad reviews because the Mac didn't have a floppy drive at that time. It was 1998, I guess, but it was the right direction. They did the same thing with the CD drives. The MacBook Air did not come with a CD drive. It completely spawned a new category where Ultrabooks came into existence, and there are no CD drives on them. This happened with Flash as well. So when Android came out first, every comparison between an Android phone and an iPhone had a negative point on the iPhone for not having Flash on it. But then Adobe stopped making Flash. Flash is not good enough. HTML5 is good. So about 250,000 people have signed a petition asking Apple not to lose the 3.5mm jack, because that's a big change. But if the 3.5mm jack, it's been around for quite some time, if that's the one that's preventing us moving into better audio technology, then I think we can lose it. And I think Apple is the best company to start doing this. I don't think most companies are doing that. Waterproofing. So Apple might think about waterproofing the iPhone. I have the Apple Watch. I've not completely sunk it into water, but it's had its own splashes and it's got wet in the rain and things like that. But it does pretty well that way, and I think that'll be the standard they'll be bringing into the iPhone. They won't completely declare it as waterproof. It might be just water resistant to an extent. I think they have IP6 or IP7 water resistance. If they are going to make it waterproof, then that'll be a bold call. Wireless charging. So wireless charging is Apple made its first attempt at wireless charging with the Apple Watch. I think it works fine. Not having a port to plug in is brilliant. I think I'll be happy for them to lose the lightning adapter and just keep the wireless charging, but I think they'll have to have something for data transfer and syncing. So I think the lightning adapter will stay, but wireless charging would be brilliant to have. I know they'll have to come up with induction coils within the phone, which might slightly increase its size, but I think they'll rather sacrifice the battery than to not come up with an amazing technology. So I think wireless charging would be in the iPhone 7 or probably the iPhone 8, but that's in pipeline, so I can predict that happening sometime in the future. there's been so much bad press around the 16 GB models. It's completely not sufficient. It's just a decoy product. It is to make the 64 gig look all the more impressive, because there's probably less than a £70 difference between the 16 GB and the 64 GB. So people usually go for the 64 gig one. So what I think Apple might do is they'll lose the 16 gig, they'll have the 32, they'll lose the 64, and probably have a 128 and 256. So that I can see happening, but the 16 needs to go. It cannot stay any longer in the market. So my fifth and final prediction, we know the iPhone is going to look a little different. The S releases look almost the same every time. Literally the same almost every time. They just have some new features internally. The 7 is going to have definitely a new design. I'm looking forward to that. So the moment that comes out, I'll definitely be reviewing that. But I think that'll be sometime in September. I see them definitely losing these antenna bands here. They have these just within the metal casing, so that signal escapes the phone. Otherwise you'll have bad reception for both Wi-Fi and your network, 3G or 4G. So I definitely see them losing the antenna bands. So this will be the end of my first video. I'll try to make a video next week. It'll probably be about the Yeti mic I bought for Boxing Day, or it'll be about the hoverboard that I bought. I didn't buy it, I got it for Christmas. So I'll probably review that. Or I have a Parrot AR drone too, so I can probably review that if it's not very windy outside. So I'll see you next week. Be good.